Welcome to the first episode of Provo Paranormal, the only podcast in Utah that would literally kill for a fresh idea. I'm your host, Maria Rivera, and today we'll tell the story of Leslie's Family Tree Restaurant. The restaurant is a truly unique place located a mere half an hour from BYU's campus. It is renowned as one of the most haunted places in the country. The owners, employees, and customers have all reported experiences with ghosts, and mediums have agreed that this location is home to many spirits. In the coming minutes, we'll be sharing the storied history of this location as well as some of the hauntings that have taken place there.
The story of Leslie's Family Tree Restaurant began in 1853 when conflict broke out among LDS settlers and Ute Indians in the area. Tensions had been growing between the Utes and the settlers invading the land, and this finally came to a head with an arguably accidental murder. The conflict escalated despite efforts to bring peace, and there were deaths on both sides before it ended. Leslie's Family Restaurant is supposedly built on land where the conflict took place, which will explain why spirits occupy it. Experts believe that at least some of the ghosts in the restaurant are bound there by a Ute curse. But many other businesses have been built in the same plot as Leslie's restaurant, including a mechanic shop, a floral shop, a Greyhound bus stop, and a post office. We don't see any mentions of whether these locations are also haunted, but it would not be a surprise to hear that more ghosts have been drawn to the area over the years. Leslie Broadhead, the owner of the restaurant, claims that in the early 20th century, a family met their end near the restaurant when the husband mysteriously left and didn't return, the son drowned in a ditch, and the wife took her own life. While the entire building is haunted, the basement is home to the most paranormal activity. It has a doorway and a staircase that lead to nowhere, as well as most of the portals that mediums have detected in the building. The show Ghost Hopping conducted an episode where they explored the building, and the basement was where most of the spooky activity they observed took place. Their electronics began to fail, their equipment began to pick up disconcerting signals, and the investigators became agitated and angry, which the host blamed on the spirits in the basement affecting his emotions. It's easy to be skeptical of a classic ghosts in the basement story, but visitors to the dark, cluttered, unfinished basement of the restaurant are sure that something strange lives there. People disagree on how many ghosts are typically in the restaurant, but estimates range from 20 to more than 100. And the haunting of the restaurant isn't limited to specters in the basement. Employees have noted many instances of haunting over the years. For example, the boy and his mother mentioned earlier have both been seen by employees and patrons, and one worker claims that the boy followed them home after their shift. Another ghost who is seen quite often is known to scowl and has been called the Lady in Red. The restaurant is also home to a drunk ghost who commonly occupies the bar and is reportedly not very pleasant. Two mysterious male ghosts seem to be the most powerful, and they draw power from the other ghosts around. Other odd happenings include doors opening and slamming on their own, chairs being stacked on tables when nobody's around, and tables shifting. Once, a fire started near the front of the restaurant overnight, but the restaurant turned out fine despite its wooden frame. Leslie credits this to the protection of ghosts, but you can interpret it however you would like. I don't know if the ghosts protected the building, but I can't deny the possibility that something unnatural saved it from the flames. Patrons of the restaurant often report seeing odd things as they dine surrounded by the aged portraits hanging on the wall, such as figures appearing in photographs they take, random chatter, and apparitions. The restaurant seems to have embraced being haunted and turned potential stigma into an attraction. While the restaurant's main claim to fame seems to be its enormous scones, many people visit because of promises of paranormal activity. Leslie says that paranormal activities bring a lot of business for the restaurant, and it offers ghost hunts from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. for prospective hunters. You can argue that this is a way to monetize the location's tragic past, but this question is no longer relevant. Leslie's restaurant closed during the COVID pandemic in November of 2020, meaning you can no longer visit for a sandwich and a chance to see a ghost. We don't know what will replace it, but it's likely that something will, given the town's plans for growth. Nobody can say if the restaurant's legacy will influence the next business, but whenever it's built, you can be sure that people will want to see if the same spirits still occupy the building. Let us know if you've heard any stories about this spooky place, and be sure to return next week for the next episode of Provo Paranormal.
Thanks again for tuning in our podcast this week. Please join us next Wednesday to hear another eerie experience here in Utah County.